Three entrepreneurs, one podcast, zero chance we agree on everything. This is the Ron Table, where the business gets real, life gets messy. Yes, drop in, opinions fly, and yes, moving quotes are basically a second language. Business, life, occasional dumpster climbers. Pull up your seat and let's get into it. Hey, and welcome back. The table is ready and time to pull up your seat because today we are talking about one of the greatest skills in business. No one to say, hard pass. I'm Ron Miller. I'm joined by my powerhouse co-hosts, Nicole Gray and Lainey Belcastro, two people who, like me, have perfected the art of polite smile, followed by a mentally stream of, no. So one of today's topic is walking away, right? From bad clients, bad deals, bad partnerships, basically anything that gives off any type of gas station sushi energy. Because let's be honest, just because someone throws money at you doesn't mean you should take it. Just like George and Susan from Seinfeld. Some relationships are so bad and so toxic, they end with someone dying from licking envelopes, right? So get your seat ready because this is going to be one hell of a conversation. And let me start off with, I will tell you as an entrepreneur still new to this, my bad story. And it is cluttered with red flags all over the place. And people that follow me on LinkedIn have seen this months and months ago. Listen, so as a new business owner, you're desperate to make deals. Sometimes you dance with the devil a little bit, right? You know, the devil you know is sometimes better than the devil you don't know. And I fell into one of those traps. The devil I knew had an opportunity for some direct hire business. Went in cautiously. Was like, okay, well, I'm not buying what they're saying because I know that they're just, literally the person's normally in their life just full of shit. And 95% of the people know that and just don't say it out loud because it's easier not to than deal with it. And I took the deal, I filled the role, and then never got paid on it. And then that person wanted to act like I didn't do my job. Now to be fair, the person turned over outside the contract terms. And then you hear every excuse in the book about, was it worth it? It wasn't this, was it? I simply say, like, if you're like a legit business person and you're not full of yourself and just full of shit, just come back to your partner and be like, listen, can we like talk through this? And maybe you get a little and give a little, I'm always open to that, but no conversation. Can't take it to court because court costs more than what the invoice was. So new business owner out $21,000.
No,
Nothing you can do about it. And it's a great story of, I knew every red flag going in, but because I was desperate to get off the ground and going, I ignored them. And what I should have done is got paid up front or told that individual to go pound sand because they weren't worth my time over the years. And they were still as full of shit today as they were back in the day.
Whenever you have to chase people to pay you, that's the biggest red flag.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's sad that you have to do that, but we've all been there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when going into it, that there's just going to be something that goes wrong. Like you always have to just go with your gut because you're always right. And it's so hard to do though, especially in the beginning, because you're always trying to just got to get started. And if I can just deal with this person for a little bit, it'll be fine. And it's never fine. And it's always just either costing you money or costing you your own mental health.
I think the biggest thing for me that I've learned, especially in this age of entrepreneurship, where it's me, myself, and I, when a partnership feels like free labor.
Yeah.
It's one thing with the money, but your time is money. Mm-hmm. And, you'll find people always want to collaborate with you and partner with you and do stuff with you. Because then when you realize I'm doing all the work and they're just kind of sitting back, that's when it's extremely difficult and hard and a pain in the ass because you're like, either I could have done this by myself.
Yep.
Or obviously this isn't working. And then sometimes you're too far in to like stop.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, because you do in the beginning, especially when you just get started. And Ron, you know this, and Lainey, I know you know this from years ago when you first started. You do want to work with a lot of people because collaboration could bring, mutual satisfaction for both of you all. It could bring more money. So you kind of want to partner, but it's that vetting process you have to remember, especially when you first start out. Like you got to really ask the question, and then everybody may not be a good partner. I've learned that the hard way as far as the people like, oh, I know them. We used to work together, or they're a friend. Hell, they could be family.
No,
Or you still
no.
gotta get them. You still gotta have terms, conditions. Still gotta have a contract. You still gotta put in who's doing what.
Yep.
Don't take it for granted just because you guys know each other.
Exactly.
Because those are the ones that always end up biting you in the butt.
Oh my gosh. And so many people do that. I hear those stories all the time when people are just starting out and they're like, oh, well, it's a friend.
Yep.
We used to work together, like you were saying. And I'm like, those are the worst people you possibly work. Like,
Yes.
I have a contract, whether you're family, which I try not to work with family in general, because I just feel like that's a hot mess. But if you're a friend, if I work with you, I don't care who you are. I could have known you since birth. You're having a contract in place because that's business. It's corporate. Like business is business. You can't get screwed over. But so many people are like, oh, well, I'm just going to be nice. And, I was guilty of that too.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and you learn your lesson. But yeah, those people are usually the worst.
Yeah. And I had to learn that too, because as a coach, people always want to come to me for advice or ask a question. Next thing you know, you're doing a 4-hour sit down.
Yeah.
And you have people usually.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I had one last week. There was a consult now, which I thought to become a client. And it was a friend of my husband, his wife, and happy to do it and talk to her. But it was kind of like, oh, well, she got what she needed and we're good. And again, it was a consult that happens. But I will say the next time she reaches out, it's going to have to be a full blown, like we're going to put a contract together and get some sessions.
Yeah.
So, because I am that good. Anyway, and you're hard to pay me for that. Just
right.
Or diet. Oh, like, well, people take advantage. I'm sure, Lainey, you had people who were like, oh, I have a quick question about so-and-so. And the next thing you know, you've done like an hour's worth of work and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm good to help you out and maybe give you some tidbits or even some suggestions, but don't take my like kindness for weakness, you know?
And it still happens. I mean, there's just times because I feel like I always want to help people. So I'll go out of my way and go above and beyond if somebody asks me to do something, if they're a nice person. And then I need to stop myself. And I need to remind myself, I'm like, okay, no, you're not being a bitch by saying no. Actually just putting up your boundary and saying, no, like this is my job and you have to pay me for this.
Yes.
Well, that's how it works. It's business. But it still happens because you always want to help. But there comes a point when it's like you're taking advantage of me because you say you don't have a budget, but then I see you going to spend money on all these other things. You have money when you're actually not.
Now, let's talk about that because even with companies, I'm sure you all had it too. Like I've had my former company where I was laid off, even one possibly was like, hey, we could possibly work together. No, you're going to have to pay me.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys had this. Remember earlier back in the day, people want to do stuff for exposure to help you out, to help your portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I fill out bills and I can't go to my mortgage company and say, oh, we're not paying you this month because I did exposure.
Yeah.
But look at this great case study.
Yeah.
So not that mortgage. I get you what I can because I'm doing stuff for exposure.
Hey, I'm sorry we laid you off and we didn't have money to keep you, but we'd like to work with you independently as for an exposure. That's called an internship. And last time I looked, this is not what your tournament's like.
That's called you're kicking me when I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that movie's been done.
Yeah.
And the intern's been assembled around.
Yes.
That's like on the way out. They're like, don't be mad. Everyone here's like family. No, they're not. It's a job. Just like what we do. It's a job. Like I think back to like my staffing days and after that whole episode for me, it was like, okay, you gotta hit pause because You don't want to do work when they're worked out or not and not get paid, because it takes away time from doing other things. And as a one-person shop, when you're the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, right? You don't have the time to waste.
Yeah.
Of, hey, what are the things that are good indicators that you had a staffing company that, you had a client as a staffing company that looked like it was going to close a deal, financially solvent, had opportunity to be worth your team's time. And for me, mentally, I start that checklist now kind of in my head. I talk to potential people, or I see people where I'm trying to vet them out is, hey, what stage are they in? What help could they be looking for? Do I need to charge anything up front as a retainer? And how do I change my services in order to find that balance of getting paid for the time and doing work for the time? Which are two different things. And you got to look for those. If you're hesitating, I need to chase you down, and you're the one who reached out. Red flag number one. Like,
yeah, the ghosting is real.
That was what I was going to bring up to, the ghosting. Chase you, and then it's like, oh, they're gone. And suddenly their phone is out of service. They're not on LinkedIn. You're like, seems like you needed me when you needed me. And now that you need to either pay me or you need to sign a contract or something.
Yeah, because these are real services. And I don't know about you all, but I am big on, like you said, Lainey, definitely a contract. But also you're going to have to pay something. I'm okay with if people, because, we're in a place right now where people have stuff going on, and they may say, well, I can't pay all up front. Can I have big payments? But there's got to be a payment up front.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely.
There's not going to be this, I'm doing all this, and then you pay me later.
Yeah.
No, there's got to be a payment, so many sessions, and then another payment, or the people will just pay everything up front, and then we get started. And people will be like, "Oh, I'm going through a hard time." Yeah, we all are.
So are we.
We still got to get paid.
Yeah.
And it's like those same people who say, "I'm going through a hard time," and then they buy a new car, and you're like,
exactly.
Well, I thought you were going through a hard time. What's up with the new truck in the driveway?
Yeah.
But you couldn't pay me, kind of thing.
Oh, I had a client years ago who consistently paid me late all the time, like very late. And it was awful. I finally had to implement like a late fee. And they would tell me, well, we've got all these things going on with our business. So, money is this, and that. And then they'd be going to their second or third home on a ski vacation. And I'm like, you can pay me, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
That's not okay. That's a red flag, and you walk away.
So how do you all say no? Because I'm big on just ripping off the Band-Aid. It's no, period. There's no, I'm sorry. There's no maybe later. It's just no. And I've always said it's not no with a doctoral thesis. It's just straight up just no. Because you want to be clear, you want to be kind, and leave it at that. And I mean, I've had some people I've met where when they said, well, I don't know. And I'd be like, and I'd actually recommend them to other people.
Yeah.
Because I just could tell, like, this is not going to work. You're not going to listen, and it's going to be an issue. So I'd rather you recommend you to go to other people. But how do you all say no?
So I usually will just say that either the timing's not right.
Yeah.
So it's taking, I'm not attacking them basically to be nice. But yeah, usually that means get out of my face. Go find someone else. Hey.
It's code for bye-bye.
Code for, and they're, well, someone else to rip off because it's not going to be me.
Ron, how are you saying no these days?
And what I do is be straightly impacted by the economy. So no, it is. But I mean, I will tell you from individuals that reach out that want to form partnerships and share business, which is a great thing as an entrepreneur. Everybody wants something from me. Most people are free to give. They just want. But if this isn't going to be mutually beneficial and not bringing anything to the table, then I just don't have time. This is not going to work out beneficially for both of us.
Right.
Because I've said no to clients for 30 years, from a staffing perspective. It was really simple. Like, you don't have positions that really match us. You don't have volume that really precipitates me putting a recruiter on this. And what your demands are, your pay rates, it's just not feasible for us to staff this. This is not a win for our associate. And it's got to be a win-win-win. And for me, it's the same thing. If it's not a win for the potential customer and it's not a win for me at the same time, I don't know that it's a good match or it's a good spend at that point. Maybe there's another service that I can provide you that will get you to that point. Or maybe what you need is a coach, or you need marketing, or you need sales. I can help, or I can distribute to people I trust. You know, that's the kind of business person I want to be, where like, listen, and it has come to my stark attention in all of this that there are a lot of companies that look to prey on individuals like us intentionally because they know that we don't have the firepower to do it. Like, I'm not going to say the word, but man, if all of us like as entrepreneurs can get together and form a collective that is mutually beneficial to ensure that there is a level playing field and legal resources. There's a name for that, but in today's
like
world,
Starbucks. Look at you talking like Starbucks in code.
I know.
I think it would help as a collective and have meetings about something that's truly
exactly. And all the money for like legal fees goes like to an offshore Cayman holding company, you know, like where we draw from, like, you know what I'm getting at. Like, it blows my mind. And I think it's like, I'm full of ideas this week. I'm full of ideas.
Okay, George.
Listen to George, you're an independent broad.
You're starting the human fund. We know.
That's rich. Money for people.
That's right.
Oh, but honestly, if we think about like, and I know that we plan on talking about this in another episode about social media, keeping up with the Joneses, but I think as business owners, content that we put out, thought-provoking, ad-related, driving from a marketing perspective, what we do and connecting, I think we have to also be careful that, listen, I'm desperate for business. I'm not afraid to say it, but I'm not going to go putting anything out there. Just like, you know, job seekers, I think, face a little bit of the same thing as they put it out there.
Yeah.
They're preyed upon by companies that are looking for some free work through, hey, let's put together a scenario for you to push in from job seekers.
Yeah.
And I think as you talk to business people like ourselves, there's more stories about getting stiffed than Stifler's mom, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like.
Very true.
I think also too is one thing to be desperate, but you're not stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all want clients. Yes, but you're not just going to take it. You just can't take advantage of people, and you have to be smart in the situation. So you don't want to go in for those folks who are just starting out with the idea of like, I'll just take anything, because that will get you every time.
And I think that comes back to just being ethical and an upstanding entrepreneur, because I mean, for me and my business, for, you know, email marketing, people come to me all the time and they're like, I bought a list, which is a huge no-no, and I just want to email everyone and I don't know who they are. They didn't opt in. And I'm like, sorry, that's not what I do. Like, I'm not going to work with spamming people. That's just not if you need someone who's doing cold email and is okay with that, even though it's highly illegal at this point with all of the new laws in place, you need to go find someone else. As much as I would love for you to pay me, that's not something I want to be known for doing. So I think it just comes back to what kind of reputation you want to have.
Your values. Your values and stuff. That shouldn't go away.
Right. It makes it easier to say no.
Yeah.
What if when you put in those values too, right? And you stand by those, right? It helps you, I think, stand out as a business person to other individuals maybe looking at contracting you, that you not only you are who you say you are, but sometimes that walk away builds credibility. You know, sometimes saying no gives you more credibility than saying yes. You know, sometimes the deals that you say no to mean more than the ones that you say yes to, right? Because it's a difference between, they pay really well, you know, and, you know, they were a tough customer versus a toxic customer. And there's a big difference in that too. I mean, listen, I'm sure we all had customers at some point in our professional and our individual entrepreneurial careers where you just want to be like, my God, if I could just replace them tomorrow, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is
All money
is-
is good money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, Ron, won't you lead us off on your WTF and FTW for the week?
So my win is my patio. Wide my patio over the weekend. I put in, it's the base. I put in paver walkways, like 70 feet of paver walkways. It's
Wow.
not done yet, but there's going to be a nice little what are those called? Big, I don't know. Anyways, there's going to be a stock tank pool. It's going to be a real entertaining backyard because who knows what the summer's going to bring. Make sure you got a place to entertain because
Yeah.
Nice.
can't do that. So, yeah, so that's my win. I think my WTF are people that were angry at the Pope for being like nominated. Like, there was a lot of people that were excited. Listen, I'm not religious. It is not my thing. I don't downtrodden anyone else for their beliefs. I believe that's your thing. You go for it. I support that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But man, the dude was in office or whatever he's called. He's on the papal throne or whatever. The conclave elected him, and the dude was there for 5 minutes, and people are already like horrible shit. It's like, dude, guys, the Pope.
Haters gonna hate. I mean,
Man,
yeah.
that's my WTF. Like, man, what happened to Christianity? I don't know. So
Well, that's a whole other episode.
That's episode 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's my WTF. Like, there are hours of coverage of this, and then like 30 or 40% of the people are like,
All right, Lainey, it's on you. You're on deck.
I mean, my WTF moment is the Pope as well, but not for seeing people. I haven't seen a lot of people like hate, actually. I've just seen a ton of people being like, yeah, America. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, seriously, why are we? I just think it's weird. The timing of having the American Pope is weird. I'm not going to get into the details around that because I'm sure we can all read through between the lines, but that's my WTF. I think weird. I think it's weird, but I don't hate him. He's a Pope. I mean,
Right.
my for the win, gosh, I don't even know, guys. I survived the weekend and it was cold and rainy, and all I wanted to do was be by the pool because my pool just opened, but I survived.
Oh, good.
That
Good.
Really a good win, but
No, that was good. So I'll stick on theme. So my for the win is actually having a new pope. I thought was cool. I think I told you it was, I thought all the media attention, like I said, reminded me of like, American Idol almost.
Mhm.
Like it was like Pope Idol because he wasn't even in the running, but he like is this dark horse
yeah.
that won. I love how he goes by Leo. That was my dad's name. Here he's got this guy born in Chicago. His background is Haitian. And no, I'm not Catholic, but I'm a Christian. And I just thought that was cool. It's just amazing how everybody's like watching the smoke.
Yeah.
Like I had friends who were new religious. Did you see the smoke? I was like, no, I was busy.
Yep.
Well, until it was smoke. But it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I will say, so my WTF is I'm really over the baby on board signs in the back of people's trucks and cars.
I love that.
I can't stand it.
My baby is 9 and I too want him to be safe. But I don't have something on the back of my truck saying, keep my son safe. Of course, you just want people to drive right.
Yeah.
Just because you have baby on board, I'm not going to like drive any different. I'm not going to like be gentler behind you or when I go to pass, maybe it's my arm and the blinker. It's just, we get it. You got a baby on board, but still just drive like you got some sense. Even people that don't have kids, they too would like to make it home.
Yeah.
Well,
I have a dog. I don't have a baby, but I have a dog. I don't have a dog on board sign. I mean, I should.
But you gotta love the people that have the baby on board sign, and then they have a caricature for each person in the
my
family
God.
and the dog. It's like, hey, predators out there, why don't you just advertise like you're running a buffet menu of what's in your car?
Yeah.
Those are all the people that have the reindeer noses and the antlers on their cars.
Yeah.
Ron's
Yeah.
like,
Yesterday, me and my son went and got Cold Stone ice cream.
mhm.
I would love to put ice cream on board, and I didn't want it to melt, so I could get
Yeah.
home quick.
I would like that. No, I agree. Like
Look,
in the rain.
I just got a mani-pedi. I need to make it home. I love food.
Yes. Agreed. What beautiful.
Oh, man.
Ron, I bet you'd appreciate that one.
I like that. My brain's going in 50 directions, but I'm not going to go there, right? Because you can see, like, the apple smoke, we bring it. So, why we bring the smoke here on this show. But, all right, folks, thanks for joining us. So we hope you see, like, you don't need a dramatic breakup scene or a final mic drop, when you look at ad situations. Because sometimes that most powerful move in business or even in job searching is, nah, I'm good, right? Protect your energy, protect your team, protect yourself. Remember, every no you say makes space for the right yes. And speaking yes, next time we are saying yes to doing business your way, because if you're exhausted with trying to keep up with every influencer, expert, and Chad from LinkedIn, maybe it's time to unsubscribe from the Joneses altogether. So until the next episode, keep your chair warm and the table close. We'll see you down the road.
See ya.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode of The Ron Table. Thanks for pulling up your chair, lending us your ear, and not touching our drums. Interested in more chaos and common sense and conversations? Well, make sure that you hit that like button or the follow button, or drop us a question or a comment in the comment section below. If you want to follow us on social media, you can check out more under the resources tab at www.elevate-talent-solutions.com. Or you can visit Nicole Gray at renewedimpact.com. Hit up Lainey Belcastro at lmbdigimarketing.com. And a big shout out to our producer and co-host, Adrian Roughheart at acrventures.com. Until next time, keep that chair warm, if not done yet.